Has the price action of precious metals in the past 2 years been the beginning of a decade-long bull run? Now, there is a fine line between hype and FOMO and history making price movements for the precious metals. So today, we're going to take a good strong look at reality, what's going on in the world, silver and gold's price action over the past 2 years, what is taking place, and what is likely to happen in the future. So today, without further ado, we're going to talk about the potential multi-year price explosion for silver and gold. Let's get into it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe as we push hard for 7,000 subs. Let me preface this video by stating this is not financial advice. This is not me attempting to influence anybody's buying or selling decisions. I'm just kind of trying to look at the writing on the wall to determine what's going to happen to each and every one of our ounces of silver and gold. I've referenced inflation a million times on this channel, but today we're going to take a look at some of these huge macroeconomic factors that are going to push up these metals, in my opinion. Now, silver and gold has rallied significantly in the past couple of years, and it's kind of got everybody wondering, given that both of them have doubled in value in the past 2 years, when it's going to cool down and when it's going to stop. But I think this time is very, very different. The LBMA, which stands for the London Bullion Market Association, is the biggest metals exchange in the world. And over the years, they've done their due diligence to ensure that the prices of silver stays suppressed. The only problem with that is, not only is the LBMA the biggest metals exchange, it's been experiencing huge supply shortages. For the past several years, there's been a persistent gap between the global silver demand and new supply. That gap, that discrepancy has been going on for several years now. There's high demand for solar panels, high demand for AI technologies, there's high demand for data centers, and soon there's going to be high demand in the EV, electric vehicle department, that will increase our annual usage of silver by a huge amount. Big players have shorted the price of silver for decades, but the problem with that is eventually that doesn't work anymore because silver is a finite element here on Earth. There's also been a huge demand in India for silver, and that has effectively drained the supply of the LBMA here as of recent. And as a result, London markets have borrowed silver from China at a very high interest rate. They're playing a losing game at this point. China's stockpile has now hit a 10-year low. So not only is London light on silver, China, who happens to be a major global silver supplier, also has a low supply. Feel free to check out today's channel sponsor, PIMBEX. They have low prices with secure shipping, and they just so happen to be kind enough to support the 49's Fine YouTube channel, so check them out at PIMBEX.com. And it's very interesting that these things are taking place right at the beginning of silver's newly discovered demand. Silver, of course, has been in demand for decades now, but with the way technology is moving, the way these massive, small town-sized data centers are popping up all over the United States, the way AI is developing, the way tech overall is developing, it's requiring more and more silver. So it's interesting that we're having all of these supply shocks at the same exact time that silver is discovering all of this new industrial demand. And I'm not here to say that the manipulation is coming to an end. Dirty players will always play dirty, but when the silver hits the fan and the supply simply does not exist for a high demand commodity, the price must go up. And that's what we're seeing today. Right now, at the time of filming, silver is sitting right at $58 an ounce. And the idea that we will have went from the low 30s all the way through potentially $60 spot price for silver by the end of the year is absolutely insane. And like I said earlier, this isn't FOMO, this isn't metals pumping, it's not hype, it's just the reality of it. We have to have silver to continue functioning. It is now a critical mineral here in the United States, and it's not something that we can do without. It's highly valuable, high in demand, and in very low supply. At the end of the day, it all eventually boils down to simple supply and demand economics. And whenever we take a look at our usage, it's only accelerating year over year. Meanwhile, our production of silver, our ability to pull silver out of the earth, is not speeding up at all. And so the obvious option would be to establish more silver mines, get more silver mined out of the earth to catch up with this demand, increase our supply so we can catch up with this ever accelerating demand that we're seeing. But the problem is, on average, it takes 10 to 20 years to establish a new mine. From the very beginning, discovery phase, all the way until the production phase, it can take 10 to 20 years to establish a new mine. So for the foreseeable future, the amount of supply that we're going to get annually isn't going to increase very much at all. But we know with where tech is going, with all the solar panels, with all the data centers, with all the electric vehicles, we know that the demand for silver is only going to increase. I said it in the last video, this really puts emphasis on the word precious whenever you're talking about precious metals. These things don't get fixed quickly. Mines aren't able to be put together in a matter of months. It takes over a decade to put together an effective mine. I can't really believe that I'm saying this. I try to be as modest as I can when I'm talking about price projections, but honestly, $60 silver, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, $90 silver kind of seems cheap. And I'm not saying that because I'm excited about the recent price action. I'm saying that because I'm looking at what the present day is telling us about the future. You can't just manifest silver out of nowhere. Money doesn't grow on trees. It's dug out of the ground. And as it turns out, it takes over a decade to discover, locate, permit, and develop the infrastructure to dig these holes in the ground to pull the silver out of the earth. I'm not really seeing an avenue as to how silver would go back down to $35, $30, or $25 an ounce. I don't really see that. Sure, will there be bumps in the road in the future? Will there be dips here and there, buying opportunities here and there over the next several years? Absolutely there will be. Will there be a few moments of stagnation for several months or maybe even up to a year in the future? Absolutely, that could absolutely happen. But with the state of silver, the amount of demand and the absence of supply and the inability for these big players to continue manipulating the price down, suppressing the price down, I don't really see anything that could cause silver to get cut in half in value. If anything, I see way more reasons as to why the price could double. $100 silver used to seem like a metals pumper type of topic, but at this point, where do you think it will be 3 years from now? Where do you think it will be 4 or 5 years from now? Where do you think it could be in just 12 months? These solid-state batteries that are being developed for electric vehicles use a kilo of silver. And whether we like to admit it or not, electric vehicles do kind of seem like the future. It does kind of seem like the direction we're headed in. These batteries are going to have much more range than the previous electric vehicle batteries. They're going to charge way quicker. And it just seems like we're kind of headed in that direction, whether we like it or not. But at the end of the day, each one of these vehicles has to have a kilo of silver, at least right now anyways. Maybe the technology will advance to the point that it doesn't need as much silver. Who knows? But at least over the next 5 to 10 years, it looks like the demand for silver is going to be higher than it ever has been before. You've got the London Exchange experiencing a severe silver shortage. You've got China with a 10-year low supply of silver, and you've got the CME catching on fire to justify shutting down the markets for the day. The parties at play here that don't want silver to appreciate are scrambling. The problem is they're not dealing with fiat dollars. They love fiat dollars more than anything in the world, but they're not dealing with fiat money. They're dealing with God's money. It's of the earth. It's natural. It's part of nature, and there's only so much of it. And as it turns out, we're developing to a point to where we need more of it than ever, and we don't have the ability to pull it out of the ground right now. We just don't. So that just leaves me with this feeling that things are going to get crazy. Things are going to get really weird. I don't know when certain price points will be hit, but I am very confident that it's just going to keep going. Does silver really even have a choice to go down in a long-term time frame? But anyways, guys, do your own research. Don't let what I'm saying influence your buying decisions and your buying frequencies and your buying status. Don't FOMO into anything. Be very calculated. Be smart about what you're doing, but do your own research and come to your own conclusions based upon what you find. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. For all I know, silver could go back down to $5 tomorrow. But will that happen? I don't think that's very likely. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Stay safe out there. Keep stacking. Peace.